I didn't expect the previous video to get the traction that it did. The views, the likes, the dislikes, the comments. I've had more views than that before, but that was before the apocalypse, the algorithm changes. Basically back when trying to make it as a gaming channel, to become a full-time content creator was possible. I don't think it is anymore. You should know that I'm not a channel that would do this on the regular. I don't read articles like Young, yeah, on screen. I don't talk with others in a podcast about something. I'm more of a Sargon type of commentator where I'll just try to gather various opinions, read various points of view, talk to different people about it, make my own opinion on it, and sometimes bring in the various possibilities, the variations, the what ifs, the conspiracies, and then, make my opinion based on all of that. And I wonder if I should rebrand, because I've been making gameplay videos for 2 years now, and I didn't really get anywhere. I have about 1,200 videos, and where am I? Very few people know my name in the very niche audiences of like Warcraft 3 and whatever. That's about it. I've never, really made commentary onto burning topics. So bear with me if it's not going to be all that great. I know that I would have remade the previous video today, but I work a job where you work 4 days, 12 hours, and then you get 4 days off. This is currently my third work day. It's gonna start in 7 hours. I'm gonna have night shifts, so it's rather exhausting. I didn't have the energy to remake it, so I only responded to comments. But I digress. Just so you know, I may return to gameplay, or I may stay with this. Although this gets me way more views, it seems. So, there are two things I would want to talk about. It's going to be like a test. I also think that we should probably cooperate on what topics do you think are interesting, or what topics would you want to listen to or hear about there. For now, I'll talk about these two, because I don't know how else to follow up the previous one. So anyway, there's protests in Belarus, and the second thing that I read about at work yesterday was the Chinese, what is it, Supreme Leader? I don't know what it's called anymore. Xi Jinping, speaking of a potential Cold War against the USA, a technical Cold War, tech Cold War, after the ban of TikTok, which some say that, it's been going on for a while. Yes, it has, but I think both sides have started to engage in it a lot more as of lately, and it may lead to some things. It may erupt into something. Who knows? Embassies were closed, ambassadors. Is it ambassadors? I think so. Ambassadors were sent home, and it's going to be interesting to watch it unravel. But the other thing that I have more information about, the Xi Jinping was just a, initial starting point, is not this raid, which is somehow related to Belarus protesters versus police, thank you Google, but the Belarus protests. Now, my father is more into conspiracy theories and alternate news sources and whatever else. That I disagree with some of the things he says doesn't mean they're any less credible or any less likely. It's just I'm not entirely sold on what he says. Like aliens, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. So anyway, he said, when I asked him if he has any, alternate information about Belarus, he said that when it comes to protesters, there is a... there's an interesting parallel that can be drawn between the USA and Belarus at the moment. In USA, it's the protesters, scratch that, rioters, who will, fight with police, beat anyone that disagrees with them, torch houses, and do everything else, arson, pillage, and raise. And in Belarus, it seems to be the police. They will do none of those things except beat the protesters. It's like a flip. But an explanation for why is that, well, my father said that there is a, and it would seem like there is some connection with what's happening in Belarus and what Yuri Bezmenov said in the past, where, at least according to what my father said, once again, there are agents who are trained in creating unrest. That's nothing new. But in the case of Belarus, they would be sent to Belarus, they would dress up as civilians, they would start a fight with police or any other authority that would be available, then they would retreat, and police in retaliation would start beating civilians that had nothing to do with it. So in a sense, yes, the violence seems to be, unprovoked, but unprovoked by the civilians. It was provoked by those agents. And so when you look at how the world is treating Belarus right now, Lukashenko asked Putin for help, so I don't think it's Putin who's trying to overthrow the regime. But EU is speaking of sanctions once again. EU, of all things, the Belgium or Brussels or wherever they reside, they couldn't even decide on what to do during Corona. But hey, when it's about changing a regime to one that fits into the EU better, hey, why not? Let's sanction them right away. So, I don't know. There's, other than Russia, which I don't think is involved in this, maybe it is. It could be like a 4D chess move where Putin starts trouble in Belarus so that Lukashenko asks him for help and gets under Russia's control. But I think it's more likely that it's either China stirring trouble, because maybe Belarus has proved resistant to spying or something like that, or maybe it's USA. I'm not the type of person who would be America, fuck yeah, but I will root for America when I speak of things like social justice, because I think if it gets defeated as a concept, it will be for the good of everyone. As I've said in a comment in the previous video, which I would have remade, but I work a job where I work 4 days, 12-hour shifts, 2 dailies, 2 nightlies, and it just is very exhausting, so I didn't have the energy to remake the video, so I only responded in comments. But I digress. I would have added a few things to it, like, it's not just USA and Canada, it's also Sweden, Germany, and either Britain or France, which are also getting genderisms and etc. And, it's spreading, it's a dangerous concept. But that aside, back to the thing at hand. I would have remade other things as well in that video. I think it's either, USA or China which are trying to meddle with what's happening, or with the regime in Belarus. So that's about it. I probably forgot a lot of things, and in a few days I'll say that I would have remade this too, but hey, I'll be starting a night shift in 7 hours. I got a lunch to get through, and then I need to sleep, otherwise I'll just fall asleep on the shift, so... Anyway, it's a physically demanding job, rather tough, but it's okay, the pay is nice. I mean, it's not okay, it bores me and I hate it, but I've been doing it for a year now, so whatever. Anyway, that's about it. Whether you liked it or disliked it, I would like to know. Why you liked it, why you disliked it, and what topic would you want to see next. That's about it. I'll see you in the next one. Or maybe I won't. Depends on you.